and the assessment before any decisions are granted or any authorizations are granted to extend the mining operations further. That is with respect to phase 4. Now, having said that, I'm sure you are aware that all the land that is being mined is owned by the company and has been owned for a number of years. Most of this land was bought from the former U.S. Steel, and the Grand Bahama Port Authority and the Grand Bahama Harbor Company entered into a relationship to mine the harbor to create what you have today, according to the plan that they had put in motion some years ago. We believe that the harbor component is more than sustainable. It essentially, what is left is essentially to shape the area that has already been mined. If you know the harbor well, the current area that houses the containers and where the ships dock is supposed to be bulkheaded on a turning basin created on the western side of the linear pier and another berth created there. And that would be the extent of the mining. I have some maps for those of you who wish to see it and who know the area better than I do. But once that's done, and it's approximately 67 acres left to accommodate that, the harbor side of the mining operations would have been complete. The question then is whether or not rock mining is the main focus of the remaining plan. We won't know the answer to any of that until we've completed the assessment. The assessments generally take 30 days, and so I'm not promising to come back to Grand Bahama to have a big meeting before Christmas. I don't think we'll have any mining crossing the Warren J. Labarty Highway before Christmas. And so we'll come and meet with you at a time mutually agreed, and it won't be 5:30 on a Friday afternoon. We'll come at a time good for you. I asked your member of parliament if she would agree to accommodate the meeting tonight. We were here, we were scheduled to go back today, and I said, well, since we are going to be here, let's see what we could do to at least begin the process of sharing the information. But when we come, we'll have members of the environmental team with us, we'll have members of the BEST Commission, and we'll have the full billboard of what the harbor company proposes to do, what has been requested, and then you can respond accordingly to that. Tonight, what I'd really like to hear very much is the kind of issues you've had and any concerns you have, so that as we look at the environmental impact assessment, as we explore the way forward, we can take into account, to the extent possible, the current concerns and any future concerns you have. I didn't come really prepared to give a speech, so thank you for listening to me. If you want, I can share the map with you. I'll take any questions you may have.
1 second, please. Just as a matter of information for those of you who are here, I'd just like to thank you for coming again. But before you start, I want you to know who's here, so that in case you might ask questions that may pertain to them or their ministries. I'm sure they're not here to answer any of these questions, but at least they'll be here for a moment to hear some of your concerns. Along in our room with us, which has been mentioned before, is Minister Kenneth Russell, from Member of Parliament for the Mile Rock Constituency. He's also the Minister of Works. Housing, sorry. Minister of Housing. We have also Minister Nico Grant, who is the Minister of Public Works. He's here with us. Thank you, Minister. We have Senator Catherine Smith, who is also responsible for the Office of the Prime Minister as a permanent secretary in the office. Thank you, Senator Smith. From the shipyard, we've invited Mr. Darville. Thank you, sir, for coming. Mr. Joseph Darville. We have from VOPAC, Reverend Jeff Hollinsworth. Thank you, sir, for coming. And I believe I've covered some persons who maybe I might have left off anyone. Please forgive me. Members from the Concerned Citizens are here. I believe Mr. Williams is the chairman of that board. And so all of you who are here, we just want to thank you for coming, and please know that your questions will be dealt with in a timely manner. Thank you again. Now, open for any questions to the minister.
Just before we open, I'm going to send this around. I really would like it back. The first sheet is a cover sheet from the environmental report, but it shows the best picture we have of the harbor in its approximate current state. The second sheet shows the conceptual plan that Bahama Rock has advanced for the future extent of the mining activities. The third sheet shows Area 3 and Area 4, and they're marked. When you get it in your hand, you'll see them. Area 3 is approximately the area where the turn-in basin for the expanded berthing for the ship would be, and that would be the extent of the completion of the harbor as the Freeport Harbor Company sees it. And this map really is an overhead photo of the area with some of the monitor wells to give you an idea of how the area looked years ago. And this final map is the area where the particular topography is described, where the fresh water is, where the mangroves are, and where the pineland and coppice is. And you'll see it when you get it in your hand, a small yellow line. And that area within the small yellow line and the road is what you will understand to be Area 4. And that's the area under question for the future expansion of the mining activities. I'll be happy to answer your questions, but just so that you have in your head what I have in mind, we'll circulate the paperwork, but please make sure I get them back. And Ken, I don't mind a little help with my geography tonight. We're not going to be here long.
No, it's not going to be long.
Go ahead.
Any questions? Go ahead.
Yes. Just for the sake of record, I mean, reiterating what you said earlier, it is a fact that Bahama Rock has now officially submitted the environmental impact assessment study to the government for the purpose of requesting permission to cross the Warren J. Lavardi Highway.
That's correct.
Okay, and understanding the sensitive nature of the work that has been done by Bahama Rock for the Freeport Harbor and the container port and so on, the expansion across the Warren J. Lavardi, what's the connection between the expansion across the Warren J. Lavardi Highway and the expansion of the Freeport Harbor?
There's no connection with respect to the harbor, and I would prefer if you didn't use the word expansion. Let's see if we can clarify this. Bahama Rock is operating on the premise, its own premise, that it owns some land, and in its mind it had the authorization to conduct mining activities. The Freeport Harbor Company has a master plan for the harbor, and they have an arrangement with Bahama Rock to mine the area where the harbor is scheduled to go. The Grand Bahama Port Authority has advised Bahama Rock that they were not in a position to issue any mining permits to cross the Warren J. Lavardi unless and until they had completed an environmental impact assessment, and that assessment was reviewed. After that, they would consider issuing any permits. They submitted the environmental impact assessment to them last October and to the government. So we haven't taken anything beyond that.
Okay, like I said, I just wanted to make it clear whether or not there was any connection whatsoever between the expansion of the harbor and crossing the Warren J. Lavardi, which I think you confirmed that there is no connection.
No.
To make it clear, what the Grand Bahama Committee for Concerned Residents have been opposing is the expansion, or let's not use the word expansion, but the crossing of the Warren J. Lavardi Highway to continue the drilling and blasting exercises.